Hey, welcome back. Have you ever wondered why, in ancient China, getting a government job could sometimes be more dangerous than staying poor? Not a minister, not a general, not someone standing beside the emperor. Just a tiny county clerk. The kind of man who had no real power, but could still be punished as if he did. On this channel, we look at Chinese history through the eyes of ordinary people. Because sometimes, the smallest person in the system shows you how the whole system really works, and today, we are talking about Li Cunhou, a low-level clerk whose family bought him a government post, hoping it would save them from hunger. But the job they bought was not a ladder. It was a place to stand when everyone above needed someone to blame. Your name is Li Cunhou. You are 18 years old. Your family lives in Jiangnan, where the drought has lasted too long. The fields are cracked. The grain jars are empty. Your father looks at the few thin acres your family owns and understands something very simple. If you stay on this land, you may all starve. So he does what many desperate fathers do. He looks for a door, not a grand door, not a door into power, just a small door into survival. He borrows favors, begs relatives, and sends people to the county seat again and again. Finally, he spends 30 taels of silver. That is not pocket money. That is 3 generations of fear, savings, and hope pressed into one payment. With that money he buys you a post as a grain duty clerk. A very small government job. Before you leave home, your father does not tell you to become rich. He does not tell you to rise in rank. He only grips your shoulder and says, "Be obedient. Follow orders. Do not cause trouble. If you can endure long enough, this job may feed our family." And you believe him. Because when you come from hunger, stability does not look boring. It looks holy. For the next few years, you do exactly what you were told. You do not argue. You do not show off. You do not offend people on purpose. Every day, you copy records, check grain accounts, carry messages, and wait for instructions. You do not know many laws. You do not understand the deeper rules of the bureaucracy. But you understand one thing. A small man survives by being useful. So you become useful, quietly useful, safely useful. At least, that is what you think. And this is the first trap. In a system built on rank, obedience can protect you only when nothing goes wrong. The moment something goes wrong, obedience becomes evidence. Evidence that you received the order. Evidence that you touched the document. Evidence that your name can be written at the bottom of the disaster. Then one morning in April, the order arrives. Jiangnan is suffering from another severe drought. 3 prefectures are short of grain. Villages are already cooking thinner porridge. Some families are boiling wild grass just to quiet their children. But at the front line, the army needs food. A messenger from the military circuit arrives on a fast horse. The written order is clear. If the delivery is late, military law will apply. 7 days. 3,000 shi. From a region already starving. And the order falls into your hands. You stare at the seal. Your stomach turns cold. This is not even your usual district. You know the area around Lianshui has been short of grain for years. Now drought has come again. Where are you supposed to find 3,000 shi? From heaven? From dust? From the ribs of hungry farmers? But you do not say this. Because men like you are not invited to explain reality. You are hired to carry it. So you take the order, gather 5 soldiers, and leave before dawn. When you arrive at Lianshui County, the sun has just begun to rise. You go straight to the county office. You present the document. You explain that this is urgent military grain. You ask the magistrate to help release grain from local stores. The magistrate listens. Then he says calmly that the official granaries are empty. The people have no surplus. If you want grain, you may go find it yourself. That sentence is polite. It is also a shove. He is not refusing the order. He is handing it to you. And now you understand your position. You have an order from above, but no protection from above. You stand inside the county office holding stamped paper, and still, in front of a real magistrate, you are almost nothing. This is how power often works. The order travels downward. The danger travels downward with it. But the protection does not. So you go to the villages, one village, then another, then another. You speak to village heads, local gentry, storage keepers, and farmers. Some people curse you as a government dog. Some fall to their knees and swear there is no rice left. One woman holds a child with a dry mouth and asks you what she is supposed to cook. Another man laughs in your face and says, "If the governor wants grain, let him come feed us himself." You hear all of it. And the worst part is, you know they are not lying. You can see the empty yards. You can see the thin animals. You can see the way people look at grain sacks, the way drowning men look at driftwood. But every hour you soften. The seventh day comes closer. And on the seventh day, if the grain is not delivered, the head that falls may be yours. So you harden yourself. Not because you are cruel by nature. Because fear is making decisions for you. You use the order. You press the village heads. You assign quotas. You seize carts. You even spend 3 taels of your own money to hire men to move the grain faster. By the 6th day, the amount is almost complete. You are exhausted, hated, and still alive. And for one dangerous moment, you think you may survive this. Then you enter Taiwan village after dark. The last grain carts are moving slowly. Torches shake in the wind. Oxen snort beside the road. Men carry sacks out of a storehouse. You are almost done. That is when a young man in fine clothes blocks your way. His belt shines. His voice is cold. He asks who gave you the courage to touch the Zhao family's rice. You do not know much about the Zhao family. You only know the order in your sleeve. You tell him you are acting under military command. He looks at your paper and smiles. Do you have a proper warrant? Do you have the county seal? Do you even count as an official? You do not answer. Because by now, answering feels like dying slowly. You order the men to keep loading the grain. The Zhao servants rush forward. Your soldiers push back. Someone grabs a cart. Someone shouts. A wooden club rises in the torchlight. Then it falls. The young man collapses. Blood spreads behind his head. For 1 second, the whole yard becomes silent. Then someone screams his name. Zhao Chengdao is dead. Only then do you understand what has happened. The Zhao family is not just one rich household. They control rice, boats, warehouses, tenants, shops, and favors across the county. Zhao Chengdao is the only son of Master Zhao. You have not just killed a man. You have struck the face of a local empire. Steal the storehouse. You send a report. You withdraw your men. And still, some foolish part of you believes this can be explained. After all, they blocked military grain first. You had an order. There were witnesses. There was confusion. It was not murder. It was an accident. But systems do not always ask what happened. They ask what must be settled. The next day, white funeral banners hang at the Zhao Ancestral Hall. On the 3rd day, Master Zhao carries his son's coffin to the county gate. Hundreds kneel behind him. They demand the execution of the government dog, Li Cunhou. On the 4th day, Zhao shops close. Grain stores close. Tenants and workers march through the streets, carrying boards that say an official has killed an innocent man. On the 5th day, your storage shed is burned. Your grain carts are smashed. On the 6th day, someone goes to your ancestral grave, splashes filth on the stone, and hangs white paper there. Now the county is not dealing with a death. It is dealing with a performance of power. The Zhao family is telling everyone, if our son can be killed by a clerk, then no local order is safe. And your superiors hear the noise. A commissioner sends word. The unrest must be settled within 7 days. The governor's office sends another instruction. Restore order, punish someone. Make an example. Notice the shape of that sentence. Not find the truth. Not examine the order. Not ask why a starving district was forced to produce military grain in 7 days. Just restore order. And when a system wants order quickly, it usually looks for the person easiest to remove. That person is you. In the county jail, you still hold on to one hope. Before the incident, you had already written a report saying the grain collection was difficult and local forces were obstructing the work. You sent it upward through the courier station. Surely, someone above knows. Surely, the governor will understand that you were following orders. Late that night, the magistrate comes to your cell. He holds a letter. He says, "Didn't you say the governor would protect you?" Then he reads the first line. Li Cunhou served with loyalty. If injustice occurs, this office will clarify right and wrong. For a moment, your whole body comes alive again. Kink. I am saved. Someone saw me. Someone knows. As long as this goes one level higher, I can explain everything. Then the magistrate takes out another folded note. This one has the governor's seal. Only 8 words. Local matters may be handled at your discretion. You stop breathing. The first letter gave you hope. The second letter tells the truth. The governor does not need to hate you. He does not even need to know you well. He only needs the matter to end without touching him. The Zhao family wants you. The people want you. The commissioner wants peace. The magistrate wants his county quiet. And the governor wants distance. So the distance becomes your sentence. The magistrate looks at you and says, if you confess, that will count as loyalty. I can make sure your mother lives a little longer. There it is. The final bargain. Not justice. Not truth. Just a small mercy offered in exchange for your life. And in that moment, you finally understand. You were not abandoned because nobody knew. You were abandoned because everybody knew exactly what you were useful for. You sign. On the day of execution, the whole city moves. Zhao's mother wears mourning clothes. Zhao merchants carry banners. People throw vegetable leaves, broken bowls, and stones. The door of your old family home is nailed shut. Neighbors close their windows, but somewhere in the crowd, an old woman you once helped kneels quietly and cries. She says you were a good man. She says you were forced. Her voice is too small to matter. The magistrate sits above the execution ground and reads the verdict. Li Cunhou falsely used the name of military grain collection. Li Cunhou stirred public disorder. Li Cunhou caused the death of Zhao Chengdao. The evidence is clear. 30 strokes. Immediate execution. The words are neat. That is what makes them terrifying. By the time a system writes the story down, it often sounds clean. No drought. No military order. No empty granaries. No magistrate pushing responsibility away. No governor protecting himself. Just one clerk. One crime. One head. As the wooden collar tightens around your neck, you remember the morning you left home. Your mother pulling silver from inside her padded coat. Your father telling you to be obedient. That this job could feed the family. And now you see the truth. You did not buy a road upward. You bought a place at the bottom of the machine. A place where orders arrive without protection. Where blame travels faster than mercy. Where a small man can be important only at the moment he is destroyed. So, was a low-level government job in ancient China a safe bowl of rice? For someone like Li Cunhou, the answer was no. The bowl did hold food. But when the system needed someone to bleed, it also held the knife. You were not a rebel. You were not a powerful villain. You were not even important enough to be hated personally. You were simply convenient. And sometimes, in history, that is the most dangerous thing a person can be, because power does not always crush the strongest enemy. Sometimes it chooses the smallest man, the one with no family behind him, no official rank to protect him, no voice loud enough to survive the noise. Your father thought he had bought you a future, but what he really bought was a position close enough to responsibility and far enough from protection. That was Li Cunhou's fate. And through his fate, we see something larger. In a rigid system, the lowest official may look like he has escaped the common people. But when disaster comes, he is often the first person pushed back down among them. Not as a servant, not as a son, not even as a man, but as an answer everyone above him can point to and say, the matter has been handled, and that may be the cruelest part. Li Cunhou did not die because his story made no sense. He died because, to everyone with power, his death made perfect sense.